normally gatekeep. Like I would normally just put up the gates, I would dig the moat, I would fill the moat with water, and then I would throw a bunch of piranhas in the moat to keep people away from the castle. I would normally gatekeep all of this, but I'm not going to gatekeep it today because this is important. I want to give you a 90-day achievement blueprint. I want to show you how to finally stop screwing around and get your most important goals done. And that's going to be an important phrase that you hear me say later. Your most important goals, because you've got a lot of goals. I know you. If you're watching this, I know you. You've got a lot of goals. We all do. But there are some goals that are your most important goals. We're going to talk about those today, and we're going to create a blueprint for you to get them done. So I'm bringing this to you live right now as we have about 10 days left to the first quarter of 2025. So this is a good time to do this. A lot of people, I think, they only set goals for January for the whole year, not us, not the people that are here on the Zoom. We like to do our goal setting every quarter because I would rather have a 3-month goal horizon that feeds into a 1-year goal horizon so that I can just get more and more done. All right, so that's what we're going to work on today. I've got some notes to share with you. I think normally I would bring you like a PowerPoint, but today I decided to just do this a little bit differently, and I'm going to bring it to you through just through a set of notes that I took. So I'm going to share my screen with you. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name's Chris. For the last 25 years, I have had thousands of people pay me to help them grow their businesses. These are people who are inspired to have an impact on others, and they simply want to make money. They want to make good money, make a lot of profit, doing something that they love. And by the way, they also want to be happy doing it. And I help them do that, but I do it in a way that's a little bit different, a way like you might not think. But we can talk more about that later. And actually, coming up later in this video, I want to give you the option to meet with me totally free to help you get your goals aligned, to help you get your goals right so that you can actually achieve these things. But getting a little bit ahead of myself, I'll tell you about that in just a few minutes. If you are watching this on YouTube and you're watching this and it's live, if you can tell that you're watching this and it's live, you're watching a simulcast of a Zoom meeting that I do every Friday with the people who are in my mastermind. They're here, they're on the Zoom, they're chatting away with me on the Zoom. You're here on YouTube, you can chat with me here on YouTube. And if you're ever so compelled, I'm going to pop my calendar link right here into the chat. If you want to get some direct advice from me, you want some brainstorming or some guidance, just go to mylastname.me, prouty.me. You can apply to be on my calendar. I'm not going to try to sell you anything. You already know if you want to work with me by the time you get there. Just go to prouty.me. You can hook up with me on my calendar. We can brainstorm about you and your business, getting more clients, and actually achieving the goals that you've set for yourself. Give me a shout out if you're on YouTube. I'd love to know who you are and where you're from, and that's what the chat is for. So let me get to this with you right now. I'm going to share my screen, and I've got a bunch of notes taken for you. I've taken these notes specifically for you. Here we go. See if I can find these things. So the name of this talk is the 90-Day Achievement Blueprint, how to finally stop screwing around and get your big 3 done. I'm just going to present this to you like this with these notes because I just want to get this information into your brains. The biggest problem that I see people have everywhere is they abandon their goals. And there are a lot of reasons why people abandon their goals. But is this true about you? Think about goals that you've set in the past. Why don't you stick to these things? Why do you fail to complete the goals that you presumably care about? And I think I'm going to reveal to you today in just a little bit why it is that you might do that, because you might not care about these goals as much as you think, but it really matters because you've got to create goals that you're able to stick to. The only way to make a goal happen is to be able to stick to it. And your most important goals are not, listen to me very carefully, I'm going to stop this share. Your most important goals are not going to achieve themselves. And I say that about a lot of things. I run twice a day, and I always say those miles aren't going to run themselves. And I do work for my private clients, and that work isn't going to work itself. You've got to do the work to make stuff happen. So I think the very first point here is you've got to embrace the motto that your goals aren't going to achieve themselves. And just by setting the goal is not enough. You've got to work towards your goals. Most people don't want to do the work. And I certainly hope that you're not that person. I hope that you want to do the work, because it's when it's your most important goals, you've got to work to make these things happen. And sometimes working smart means working hard. So your goals are not going to achieve themselves. Here's some data for you. Only 8% of people achieve their New Year's resolution. Most abandon them by February. That's true. Of course it's true. University of Scranton did the study. You don't need me to tell you it's true. Some big university did the study. There is just this concept that people give up on their goals. It's even 8 weeks or 4 weeks is seems to be rather generous. Second point, research from the American Psychological Association shows that 80% of people fail to stick with their goals longer than 30 days because of lack of clarity, accountability, and alignment with their personal values. And that's something that's important in what we're going to be talking about today, is aligning your goals with what inspires you most. And then Harvard Business School found that people with written goals were 3 times more likely to achieve them. Yet only 3% of adults regularly document their goals. And the people in my mastermind see this all the time. I have this right here next to me. This is a book. I bought it from Amazon for $7. This is a mechanical pencil. These things stay together. Nothing else gets written in here but the goals, and this pencil doesn't get used for anything but goal writing. And when you open this up, I'm not going to show you my bookmark. People in the mastermind, you've seen my bookmark. I'm not going to show the bookmark. I've got a very, very special bookmark here in my book to remind me of what page I'm on. So I'm going to go, if you want to see the bookmark, get on the call with me. But there it is. Every single day, I write the goals. I don't want you to see them because I don't want people to know my goals. That's probably that's like a bonus ninja tip for you. Don't tell people your goals. You don't have to go tell. Listen, don't sit by the pool taking a picture of your feet with the pool in the background saying big things coming this week, this month, this quarter. That is, if you want to fail at your goals, you go right ahead and do that. You start telling people that the big things are coming. You go right ahead, be my guest. That is the number one way to fail at your goals, is to start blabbing these things out to people. Because the moment somebody goes, awesome or great, you get the same chemical reward in your brain as when you actually got the goal done. Write that down. Write it. As your doctor and as your lawyer, I recommend to you that you stop blabbing about your goals. That is the scientific way of saying it. The moment you tell somebody your goal and they give you any kind of praise for having that goal, you get the same chemical reward in your brain as though you've achieved it. So stop talking about your goals. Write them down in your book, close your book, and get to work. And when you get it done, then tell people about it. Because then you're not going to be undermined by the chemical reward that you got from somebody saying, congratulations, that's a great goal. So you want to fail at your goals? You sit down by the pool, take a picture of your feet with the pool in the background, post it on Facebook and say, big things coming this week. You know what's going to come this week? Nothing. Nothing. Boy, I hate to sound so hard about it, but it is true. It is true. All right, we got a comment on YouTube. Jackie says, Chris, everything you consulted with me on for the past 2 days, I've begun, and I'm so happy I met you on LinkedIn. The ideas are working. I appreciate it so much. Well, Jackie, thank you so much. Jackie and I had an awesome call this week. Jackie's out there on YouTube. Jackie and I had an awesome call this week. And what was especially awesome about the call is that half of the call about Jackie, would you say, we were able to do it in Spanish, which was really just like completely heart opening for me. Is that Jackie and I were able to have it was a call, a brainstorming call with me, and she and I were able to talk back and forth in Spanish. She said something to me that really stuck with me this week. She said that my sentence structure in Spanish was perfect, and I was so inspired by that. So thanks, Jackie, and thanks for being here today. Let's go back to the talk at hand. Back to the notes. Got to find those things. All right. So don't abandon your goals. And here's how you do that. First, for the next 3 months, for the next quarter, I only want you to focus on 3 big goals for the next 3 months. Don't overwhelm yourself. The people in my high level mastermind, I encourage them to do 5, but that's a very different, we do things a little bit differently in there. But for you, you're just getting started on this, just pick the three big goals. One of the things that we do in the mastermind is we do a goal battle. And we have all the goals that we want to achieve, and we make sure that we battle these things out so that the exact right goals manifest at the top. So just pick the top, figure out what your three big goals are. If you want a tip here, I would say pick one goal that makes the other goals happen by default. Like, for instance, if you wanted to buy a new car and you wanted to earn, I don't know, $100,000 in the next 3 months. If you earned $100,000 in the next 3 months, you could probably buy a new car. So ditch the buy a new car goal and focus on the revenue goal, because one will make the other happen. That's how, when we do a goal battle, that's how we identify which goals are most important. But one of the things that's most interesting here is when you have fewer goals, you're going to get better results. Let me tell you about a study that was done by some landscape architects. They went to an elementary school, and the elementary school playground had a fence around it. And they wanted to see what would happen if they removed the fence. So they did. They removed the fence and they brought the first graders out. It was first graders, and they put them on the playground. And something wild happened, something that no one expected. The children stayed near their teachers and near the door to the school. They stayed near safety. And they researched this more and more. And what they found was, when you have no limitations, when you have no constraints, when you have no fence, you do not explore as far as you possibly could. You stay closer to safety. It is a human condition. It's something that you could rewire your brain and undo, but instead, what I would recommend to you is give yourself the constraints. Because in this study, the landscape architects brought the fences back and they let the first graders out, and the first graders explored all the way up to the fence. So what happens here? You remove constraints and you stay close to safety. You give yourself constraints and you explore to those constraints. Now, there's nothing that says you can't expand those constraints once you get there. So my recommendation to you when it comes to goal setting is give yourself constraints so that you have the freedom to explore to the constraints. When you find yourself reaching those constraints, then expand them a little bit. As opposed to giving yourself sky's the limit thinking, give yourself a ceiling. When you get to it, raise the roof. What a funny way of saying that. Okay, so give yourself some constraints. Pick three big goals that you're going to get done. And what you've got to do is you've got to identify what are the busy work goals and what are the real meaningful, impactful goals. Only you can figure that out. But once you have the three, you've got to make sure that these are impactful goals. Do these have lots of downstream effects? Do these goals make other goals happen? You've got to be careful not to select goals that just make you feel good for working on something. And I see it all the time. I see people set goals for things that aren't directly affecting their most important parts of their life. Maybe it's their, let's talk about business. Goals that don't directly affect the business, but instead make them feel good for accomplishing something. You could set, pardon me, you could set a goal to get 1,000 likes on your content over the course of a week. And while that's great, that is a third order effort towards actually generating revenue, because people have to like your content, then they have to explore who you are more, second order, then they have to come into your field of view, they have to get your lead magnet, give you their email address, schedule a meeting with you, first order, then you can sell to them. But the reality is you can't take those likes and put those likes in the bank. So if that's your goal, that's great, as long as you don't want to make money from it. And so maybe you just have a goal to get that social recognition. Wonderful. Go for that goal if the social recognition is important to you. But if it's more important to you that you're generating money in your business, you've got to focus on the first order things. That's getting people on calls and turning them into clients. You've got to do the things that directly get people on calls and turn them into clients. That's the difference between a busy work goal and a real impactful, inspirational goal. All right. So those are some examples of well-defined. First order, get people on calls, turn them into clients, versus poorly defined, I want to get 1,000 likes on my content. Step number two, and I'm just going to zoom around and make sure I don't have any questions anywhere. Looking okay. Step number two for you is going to be to eliminate distractions. And I could talk about this in any aspect, not just goal setting, but eliminating distractions is the cornerstone to achievement. When you have distractions around you, it's impossible to get anything done. Here's what the research tells us. The research tells us that every interruption, every distraction while you're working undoes 15 minutes of productivity. So what does that mean? You've got your phone nearby, you're sitting here and you're getting some real important work done. You get an alert from whatever, and you pick it up and you look at it and you think about it for a second and then you put it back down. It, on the surface, it looks like 5 seconds went by, but the reality is 15 minutes of productivity just got zapped and you're toast. You're not going to, you just can't recover from that quickly. Now imagine this happens every couple of minutes. Imagine you've got the alert up here in the top of your screen, or you've got the person knocking on the door going, "What do you want for lunch?" Or you've got the thing outside or the thing in here. You've got these distractions. You've got to get rid of these things. So when you're focused on your goals and you're focused on getting things done, phone, airplane mode, in a drawer, in another room, watch, off, desk, cleared, door, shut, locked, sign, leave me alone. I'm getting stuff done. Ask me the question later. If the house is on fire or there's a burglar breaking in, maybe knock. But other than that, leave me alone. That's what mine says. That's what mine says, at least. You've got to remove the distractions. Once a quarter, when I'm planning my next quarter, I go into isolation where nobody can find me. And it's just everything is removed except for my little book here, my book and my pencil, and that's it. And I'm doing that next week, where I'm just going to vanish for a whole day, and I'm going to spend time with this, building my achievement engine for quarter two. You can do the same thing. Eliminate the distractions, because the distractions are killing your ability to achieve anything. Back over here. Okay, so modern life is designed to distract you. Why? Because every single thing that distracts you monetizes that distraction. Give that some careful thought, friends. Every distraction is made to monetize your attention. Your distraction from your goals makes other people rich. I'm going full screen. Your distraction from your goals, because of life distracting you, is making other people rich. You get the TikTok alert that some idiot is dancing and you got to go see it. The dancing family is putting up a new dancing video and you have to go watch it. You just monetized TikTok and that person. They didn't just steal money from you. They stole time and money from you. They stole money from you because you've lost focus on your goal. They've stolen money from you because your attention now made them money. So in the attention economy, your attention, let me say it this way. In the attention economy, attention flows from those who value it least to those who can profit the most from it. If you don't value your attention enough to be able to sit down and focus on what matters the most to you, then get off this video right now. Get off this Zoom and get off this video. If you don't value your attention enough to get your most important goals done, go away. I don't want, get thee behind me. Don't be around me if that's the case. Attention flows from those who value it least to those who can monetize the most from it. Well, you should be able to monetize from your attention. The TikTok alert comes through because the dude is cooking the thing with something else. I don't know. And all of a sudden you go and you watch that, and then you scroll and you watch the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And if you're like normal people, most people, 90 minutes goes by and you're on the platform. You've just made TikTok rich. You've made those creators rich. And guess what you've made yourself? Don't make me say it. Poor. You've made yourself poor because you decided to let your attention flow away from what matters most. And I'm sorry to give you that hard message on a Friday, but you got to hear it. So one of the things that you can do, digital minimalism is what I practice. I practice minimalism in everything that I do. My desk is empty aside from, I have my phone here because I was doing something in my work with it. Here's what's on my desk right now. My keyboard, my mouse, my coffee, and this. This goes away when I need to focus. Oh, I also have a rock. I have a rock on my desk. But that rock gives me superpowers. And my book. Okay, that's it. Desk is empty otherwise. Because there's nothing here to distract me. If there's a pile of papers that are there, I'm going to wonder what's in those papers. It's going to distract me. There's a bill or there's a check or whatever. Whatever. I don't know what else. I don't know what else you put on desks. But every pile of paper that you have on your desk, that's eating away at your attention. And then the same is true for your work environment. My work environment is very minimal. I've got a plant I have a couch because sometimes I sit on it. But I don't have like you look at my I don't have like things. I don't have things to look at. I don't need things to look at. I don't have pictures of my children everywhere. I see them all the time. I know what they look like. Time blocking is important as well. Time blocking is dedicating large chunks of time to getting priority work done. For me, I like to block a 4-hour chunk to get one thing done. Super, super effective for me. It might not be for you. You might need 90 minutes to get something done, and that's totally fine. There's a principle called help me remember, whose principle is it? It is, wow, I can't remember the name. I can't remember the dude. People here on the Zoom, what's the principle? You're going to get the stuff done in the time you give yourself. I'll remember before you put it in there. Not Pareto. Pareto is the 80-20 rule. This is it's also the name of it's the Parkinson's principle. Thank you very much. It's Parkinson's principle. You're going to get done in the amount of time. Thank you, Gabrielle. You're going to get done in the amount of time that you give yourself what you set out to do. So you can give yourself 3 days to clean your house or 3 hours to clean your house. Either way, you're going to get it done in that amount of time. The same is true for your work. When you sit down to do something, you say, I'm going to get this done in the next 90 minutes. Work for 90 minutes, get it as done can be. That's going to help you so much. You're going to feel so good about what you've achieved. Align with your inspirations. Align your goals with your inspirations. So you have things that inspire you. There are parts of your life that inspire you. If you're curious as to what those parts of your life are, it's not that hard to find out. The parts of your life that inspire you the most are the things that you spend your money on. They're the things that you spend time doing. They're the things you direct energy towards, and they're how you fill your space. So if you want to know what inspires you, how you can align your goals with those things, start with your space. Look around your space. How do you fill your space, or what's in your space that's most important to you? For me, it's the stuff for my work. It's the microphone and the keyboard, and I fill this space with things that make my work happen. Because my work, helping people inspires me. I don't need a to-do list, a reminder, or something extrinsic or external to get me to do my job. I do my job in my default state. I also fill my space with my children. You can't help it. They have to live here, but they also inspire me, and I love spending time and doing things with them. And then at a much lesser degree, because I'm a minimalist when it comes to exercise, I have stuff that contributes to my physical well-being. For me, it's running and biking, but I have a pair of sneakers. I have a pair of running shoes. That sounds more fantastic, doesn't it? And I've got a bike in the garage. And that's it. So I fill my space with the things that inspire me the most. There's nothing that in my view that doesn't inspire me. And then how do you spend your time? Ask yourself, if given no limitations, if given no restrictions, what would you spend your time doing? I would first spend my time working. I would second spend my time with my kids. Third, I would spend time exercising and contributing to my physical well-being. Those are the things I would do. I really wouldn't do anything else. I wouldn't socialize. I wouldn't, I wouldn't, I don't want to say, I could get, it might offend some people if I told you all the things I wouldn't do, but there's lots of, aside from those things, probably won't do it. So that's how I spend my time. How do you spend your energy? Well, my energy is spent here building cool things for you and for them. That's where I spend most of my energy. And then I spend my energy doing crazy stuff with the kids. And then I spend my energy exercising. So that's the E, that's the energy. And then my money, where does my money go? Most of it goes to the kids. Most. most of it goes to the business in terms of ad spend, but after I don't think about that. After that, money goes to the kids. I don't spend a lot of money on my physical well-being because I just need a pair of shoes every 3 months. That's pretty much it. And I don't eat. So I don't have to spend money on healthy food because I don't eat. I barely eat. I eat 6 meals a week. So I don't spend a lot of money on those 6 meals because even when I eat, I don't eat a lot. So space, time, energy, money. What are the things that rise to the surface for you when you're doing that? Now align your goals with those things. I don't spend time socializing. I don't spend time on social contribution. So if I had a goal to socialize, I'm not going to achieve that goal because it doesn't inspire me. I don't fill my space, spend my time, energy, or money on anything social. Barely leave the house, right? So if I had a goal that was that, I'm not going to achieve it because it doesn't inspire me. But if I have a business goal or a kid goal or a physical fitness goal, I don't need a to-do list, a reminder, or anything external. It all comes from within. It's intrinsic. All right. So that's how you figure out your most aligned goals. And if your goals aren't those, then you've got to do some honest self-reflection. Let's go back to the notes. If if your goals aren't aligned, you've got to do some honest self-reflection to figure out what's going on. Yeah? Because when you are aligned, you'll have the positive emotional triggers that help the momentum keep going. You can call this your why. This is why, your why. My why is my business, my kids, and my fitness. Yeah? And then it's always good to have people who are on the same path as you. In fact, that's why I built my masterminds. And I said it earlier this week. Actually said it twice this week. I was in two different groups and people were collaborating and they were helping push each other. And they had that accountability from the community. These masterminds that I built are so powerful because you see people just light up. You've got to be able to find this for yourself. And a lot of times it's hard for entrepreneurs to be able to find the group of people that can push you to be your best. That's why I built my masterminds. And if you're curious about that, I'm going to put a link in the chat. It's prouty.me. I'll put it in the description of this video. Look, I don't want to sell it to you. I want you to come in if it's right for you. So you can get on that call and ask me questions about what it's like to be in a mastermind. The reality is, like, if you bought coffee today, you spent more money than the people who are in my masterminds, who are getting support 7 days a week in community and multiple times a week in calls with me. So I guess you could go buy your mocha frappa vanilla rappa thing. You could go buy that and sit around and drink it and pontificate if you're going to get your stuff done. Or you could spend the same amount and you could be surrounded by people who are pushing you, who just want to see you win, me included. I don't know that. You know what my real goal is for you? My real goal is that coffee or mentorship, those are like rounding errors in the amount of money that you're making every month. I want it to be like like so much of it doesn't even matter, right? I just want that to be a rounding error. So you've got a choice. You've got a choice sitting there. You can go buy a coffee today and drink it, and then, God, and then you flush it away after it goes through you, or you could spend less than that and get mentorship to actually get the stuff done that your most important goals. So let me give you a strategy that you can start using right away. You can start using this today, and that is to start journaling. Yeah, it's to start journaling your goals. I told you earlier, I've got the book and the pencil. There is a tremendous amount of research and science that suggests that when you write something down, that it has a profound impact on your ability to achieve it. Now, I like to write my goals down every single day. It takes 5 minutes. And if you're focused on 3 goals for the next 90 days, it's not going to take you hard. It's not going to be hard to open up this and write down your 3 goals every day. I do write down in the morning and in the evening. In the morning, I just write down the reminder of my goals. And in the evening, I like to document the progress that I've made because I think it's really important. I think most people are going to focus on, they're going to focus on what they didn't get done. And I think that's true for a lot of people. You'll focus on the gap, what you said you were going to do and compared to what you said, to what you did. They focus on that gap. I'm not like that. I like to focus on the gain. I like to focus on what got done. And I like to learn from my success versus the rest of the world out there that's learning from your mistakes. Focus on your movement versus your what you didn't get done. And there's probably a really cool way to say that I just haven't figured out yet. So that's the evening part of the journaling process that you can do. Write down the goals in the morning, write down what you got done in the evening. And that is the process of honest self-reflection so that you can make adjustments going forward. And so if I had to give you a tip to building the habit consistently, it's really simple. Just freaking do it. You just got to do it every day. It's non-negotiable. And that's where the habit comes in. Now, of course, I've created this talk for you and we're live here on YouTube today. This is a a very general set of advice. This is made so that most people can get help from this, can make progress from this. But you're unique. You're sitting there watching this. You're unique. You're a unique person. You have a unique business and unique needs. You have unique clients. You have a unique approach to everything. So if you'd like help organizing your goals for Q2, I'd be happy to help you. It's not a sales call in disguise. It's a time where you and I get together. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions and I'm going to help you organize your most important goals and how you can build an achievement engine to get these things done in Q2. And that a totally free session. Just go to prouty.me. That's my last name, .me, and you can apply to be on my calendar. But let me just say this, before you go to that website, please already have a business and please already have sold a couple of things. This is not a call for people who are wondering if they should have a business or have never started a business and they don't know what to do or they've never sold anything. I can help those people, but you're going to get more impact from me if you have an established business and you sold some things. So if you're going to book that call, just have that so that I can truly have an impact on you and I can truly help you achieve these things. So you can book that free session at prouty.me. And like I said, not a sales call in disguise. I just want to help you out. It doesn't have to be a sales call because by now you already know whether or not you want to work with me. And if you do, that's great. And if you don't, that's cool too. I'm just going to check in on YouTube, make sure there aren't any questions hanging out over there. We look good over there. We got a ton of people there. I feel bad shutting it down with so many people here watching. So let me ask you this, YouTube, and you guys here on the Zoom, what was your biggest takeaway from our talk today? While I take a sip of the coffee, to take a breath, because I haven't taken a breath for what seems like 25 minutes. What was your biggest takeaway from what we talked about? Just to get it done, somebody says. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Your goals aren't going to achieve themselves. More people are showing up on YouTube. If you're just showing up on YouTube, I'm grateful that you're here, but my goodness, you missed out. You'll have to watch this thing on the replay, which you might be able to just rewind and watch right now. I really do want to see you get those 3 big things done. Somebody says that using a notebook to write down your 3 goals every day, twice a day, actually, it's really important. And Gabrielle, next Thursday, remind me about that. I'll give you some direct guidance on how I do it. It's a little bit more than I want to give out on YouTube right now, just because it's a little complex, and I wanted to keep this something that everybody could get something from. But I'll show you next Thursday. I write mine down in a very specific way, like a really very precise, very specific way, and it's not like the I don't know who those people are that tell you how to write your goals down by saying, using certain language. Yeah, you can do that as well. But I'll show you some techniques. Remind me about that next Thursday, will you? Will you do that, please? Anybody else on YouTube? Like now all the people on YouTube show up. I really do want you to watch this. If you've just shown up on YouTube, I just got done yelling for the past 33 minutes. I just got done yelling about how important it is to achieve your goals. So please go back and watch this. All right, YouTube looks like it's quieted down. I'm going to say thanks. I'm going to jump off of YouTube. You guys here on the Zoom, just hang out with me for a minute. I'll come back and we'll do a quick recap. YouTube, thanks for being here. I'm grateful for you. Go watch this thing again so that you can continue to absorb the principles. And when you're ready to achieve your most important goals, especially if you're an entrepreneur with a business, head over to prouty.me. That's my last name, prouty.me, and apply to be on my calendar. But remember, already have a business, already made some sales. You haven't done